Hello everyone and welcome to my yet another exciting video on a different topic of HRM today. The topic that I'm going to discuss with you is grievances, one of the very important topic in our day-to-day life also. But apart from that, let me just recapitalize as to what we have done in our previous videos. In my previous 2-3 videos, I have just discussed things related with the different kind of theories of motivation. So most probably I have taken almost 8 theories with you all, and I'm sure by this time you're well acquainted with the theory concept of motivation. So let's begin with a very burning topic, my dear friends. Then this topic is related with grievance. Now, in our day-to-day life also, in our daily parlance also, once we are working in any of the organization, there may be some kind of grievance. Now, what is basically, if I tell you that what is the meaning of grievance? So, grievance is basically nothing, it's just a kind of a dissatisfaction or any kind of discomfort or any kind of complaint that a person can have with the organization over the terms of employment or anything which is related with the employment. If it happens to be a personal problem, then it has no bearing with the current situation of the company. So, if we talk about grievance, it's nothing but it's just the discontentment or dissatisfaction arising out of anything related with the organization. So, it basically arises when an employee feels that something has happened or is going to happen which is unfair. Please understand, unfair, unjust or inequitable. So anywhere where you start feeling uncomfortable with any situation, with anything, any policy, anything which you feel that is quite unjust, unfair, or it's quite inequitable, then the person will start feeling a little puzzled, a little disturbed or perturbed. Thus, grievance represents a situation in which an employee feels that something unfavorable has happened or is going to happen, where people feel that no, something is going wrong somewhere or the other. So, that is the concept of a grievance. So, basically, grievances are concerns or problems or complaints that employees raise with their employer, and as such, my dear friends, there is no legal binding process that we have for handling the grievance at work, but of course, there can be some kind of principles that can be observed in a workplace so as to reduce this kind of grievances at workplace. So, it is very essential that the sooner these grievances they are identified, effort should be taken by the management to resolve them formally or informally, so that the person is able to concentrate on the work and so that the performance doesn't get hit at all. So, these are the different definitions that are actually given by different people. Professor Piggers and Mayers define that grievances, they are the dissatisfaction. According to them, dissatisfaction in an employee is anything that disturbs the employee. Disturbs basically means the mental peace is not there. So, the person feels stressed out, frustrated, irritated, and when this mental peace or mental peace is not there, naturally the person cannot focus. So, if the person cannot focus, naturally it will hit the performance. Then Dale Yoder defines it as a written complaint filed by the employee and claiming unfair treatment, or according to the National Commission of Labour states that the complaints affecting one or more individual workers in respect of their wage payment, overtime, leave, transfer, promotion, seniority, so on and so forth, they would constitute grievance. So, all these things that are mentioned, they are all related to the terms of your work only. Nothing personal is brought in between. So, this is what it says. And it says that every employee has got certain expectations which he thinks that must be fulfilled. So, naturally, if at any point of time the expectations are not met and the person starts feeling disturbed, or if the person feels that it is unjust, unfair, inequitable, then that will constitute to a grievance. So, the trick is the sooner it is identified, it should be nipped it in the bud. Then according to ILO, grievance means a complaint of one or more workers in respect of wages, allowances, condition of work, interpretation of service, stipulations or related with overtime, leave, transfer, promotion, so on and so forth. So again, all these things, they are all related with the terms of employment, nothing personal coming in between. Then employee grievance are situations in which the employees are dissatisfied with the work. So naturally, any kind of dissatisfaction, that means you are somewhere or the other disturbed. That means again the mental peace is not there. So you cannot have a smiley face here. Then a grievance is any kind of dissatisfaction that adversely affect the organizational relation and productivity. According to Michael J. Jucius, defined grievances as any kind of discontent or dissatisfaction, whether valid or not, arising out of anything connected with the company that one feels or thinks or believes is unfair, unjust and inequitable. So, as I told you that in the case of grievance also, it is again a kind of a perception that one can has, which can be true, which cannot be true, and here person feels that something has happened or something may not happen or something should have happened, anything. So, that would also constitute a grievance. So, basically grievance refers to any kind of dissatisfaction or anything which is discontent, which has a very, very narrow perspective. Of course, it is arising out of the employment only, and this content that anyone has, where person feels that something has happened to him, unfavorable to him, or something is going to happen, which can be voiced and which may not be voiced. So, if you are talking about voiced, that means it can be brought notice to the management so that the corrective actions can be taken. So, if we talk about the nature of grievances, so naturally it may or may not be real. It can be out of the perception where people feel that something has happened or something is not going to take place which is favorable to him or unfavorable to him, unfair, unjust or inequitable. And it may arise out of one cause, but due to very causes. So, there can be number of causes that can cause that kind of grievance or disturbances can be created, and where you can be perturbed, your mental peace can be hampered. Then every individual does not give expression to the grievances. That means it is not necessary that you actually voice it, that you have to say that I am unhappy. At times they can be something which can be kept inside only. And as far as the nature is concerned, in the case of grievances, my dear friends, it is more important that it has to arise out of employment only. So, anything which is related to his personal life, that is not a accepted grievance. It can be written also, it can be oral also, that means it can be expressed also, it cannot be expressed, and above all this grievance, it can be a valid one or it can be an invalid one. So, at times people feel that okay, genuinely supposing if the company is not giving you the salary, the company have not released the salaries for about two months, so that is a real grievance. But in case if people feel that oh, what will happen if I am chalked out of the company or if I do not perform well, and so on and so forth. So, that can be something which is anything which is out of your own perception. So, it may not hold true also. And it says that above all, what is more important is that the grievance should be traceable. You are able to trace that okay, there is a kind of some kind of discomfort, discontent or some kind of dissatisfaction or complaint that is existing. So, it has to be traced out. So, if people are able to trace out, then only then the action can be taken. So, basically there can be three kind of forms of grievances. So, it's basically it says that it can be a factual one, it can be an imaginary one, and it can be a disguised grievance. So, I hope by this time you know what is the meaning of grievance. So, anything which makes you uncomfortable, which is valid, invalid, acceptable, not acceptable, favorable, unfavorable, anything which is related with your terms of employment. So, this factual form of grievance is basically it is said that there is a relationship that exists between the employer and the employee, and the rest on the premise that the job contract is there in the company and the company is expected to follow the terms and condition or the norms. So, in the factual grievances, when the employee is actually dissatisfied for a very, very genuine reason, that is our factual grievance. For example, if the salaries they are not released for long, then that is a factual one. Or for example, if if the company has promised a pay hike and if the company has not given that pay hike since long, then also that's a very factual complaint. Then imaginary is basically when the job contract is not clear cut and does not indicates the norm defining the limits within which the employee expects the organization is going to fulfill his or her needs aspiration. Then the employee actually develops such kind of needs which the organization is not obliged to meet. Anything which you having anything out of your own perception, for example, that dissatisfaction is because of the wrong perception. For example, you thought that once you're going to enter the company is going to provide you with this, the company is going to provide you with that, and however there was no real anything, nothing was in black and white, nothing was written at that point of time. So it is because of your own wrong perception which is bringing some kind of discomfort or discontent to you. So that kind of grievance is actually termed as imaginary grievance. So basically what happens here also in the case of imaginary grievances, my dear friends, that these grievances, they are actually not based on the facts, but still the employees are dissatisfied. So anything which is because of the wrong information, wrong perception that people they have, so definitely it makes people unhappy, and at this point of time there is lot of negative behavior, negative environment that exists in the company. So this negativity can be in their attitude also. Here this word is very important in the case of imaginary. Anything which was because of their wrong perception, there is lot of negative attitude which persists, and there is a kind of a bad environment which is not conducive for good work. Then the last one is the disguised one. Here when the reasons of dissatisfactions are not known to the employees themselves, that is known as disguised. Disguised is something which you also don't know why I am sad or why anything is making me unhappy. Why is there's a kind of a dissatisfaction, discontent. So when things are not known to you also, so that is the disguised grievances. So that kind of grievance is termed as a grievance when you yourself are not aware of the reason as to what is causing that discomfort to you. Anything of course related with the terms of employment. So this type of grievance should be at once attended, because if they are not attended, then they may have a far reaching bad consequences, because ultimately this kind of a disguised grievance is going to hit your mental health very badly. So at any point of time, if mental health is hit, so naturally it will get reflected in the in the performance of the person. So naturally one has to be very, very careful about this. So these were the different forms of grievances. So let's understand the different types of grievances that we can have. So for example, we can have different kind of grievances. For example, they can be individual grievances, group grievances, policy grievances, union grievances. So if we talk about the individual grievances, so it's again anything which is related with the complaint where an action by the management has been violated, where people feel that okay, I have been any action has been done and this should have not been there. Anything which is related with the discipline, for example, anything which is related with the demotion or non-fulfillment of the basic needs, denials of the benefits. So these are the things which are individual grievances. So basically it is related to the conditions when the individual's rights have been actually violated, and it says that as you can see on the screen also, that the action by management has been violated the rights of an individual as set out in the collective agreement, or maybe by some unfair practice. So anything this is more or less the fault of the management, where management fails to keep up their promises. At that point of time, there can be some kind of individual grievances. So of course this can be related with the denials or the demotions or discipline. The second one is the group grievance. So a group grievance is basically a complaint by a group of individuals or department or shift, and it is affecting them in some way or the other, and it can be at the same time by the action that has been taken by the management. So in the case of group grievance, for example, something was promised by the management and it was not kept by the management, or as a group grievance, they are not properly redressed, or people they feel, or the workers they feel that they have been affected by some kind of situation which they should not be in actually. So here the collective grievances normally come under the purview of the group grievances, or at times when we talk about something related with the collective bargaining. So here again, as a group, people are not happy with the management's action. Then the policy grievance is again, a policy grievance is basically, what is the meaning of policy if I ask you? Simple question. So most of you who are watching this video, you may be aware of the word policy, you may not be aware of the word policy. Policy is basically a kind of a guideline which is made by the management. It can be kind of any policy, anything which is related with the hiring, or anything which is related to promotion, or any policy related with transfer policies or compensation policy. It can be related with anything. So any grievance resulting out of the policies which have been actually made, or the kind of policy which they have made, the way they are implemented, whatever it is. So any grievance coming out of it, that is a policy grievance. So it's basically by a union that an action is a violation of the agreement that could affect or who are covered by the agreement. So now when we are talking about this agreement, this is basically a kind of a collective agreement, which is an agreement which is actually signed between the management and the workers, and it is believed that both the parties, they will follow the terms and condition, and if any of them they are violating it, the policies that have been mentioned, so that is a kind of a policy grievance. And it is said that a policy grievance may come out of the situation which may prompt an individual grievance also. So because of that, this policy grievance, individually people, they may be very, very dissatisfied. Then the last one is basically the union grievance. I hope a number of times I have spoken about the trade union also. The trade unions are nothing but they are the people who are the mediators between the management and the workers. And when workers, they join the trade union, they feel very happy and satisfied because they get a sense of belongingness. They feel that, okay, there is somebody who can help me, or through which I can raise my voices. So if a union has a kind of a grievance in a collective manner, that is termed as union grievances. So basically, a union grievance may involve a dispute arising directly between the parties to the collective agreement, and these agreements are basically between the management and the workers. So again, who are the people who are giving you the discomfort is sometimes the management itself only. So these are the different types of grievances which we discussed. But my dear friends, as I told you, that is very essential. The moment the grievances, they are identified, they should be nipped in the bud. So, but the point is, how do they identify it? How that identification is possible? So in HRM, there are a number of ways by which we can actually identify the grievances, and once these grievances are identified, a proper action can be taken by the management to satiate or to redress the grievance to the maximum level, so that the kind of discomfort or discontent that the workers or the employees or the workers they are facing, they do not do that. Because ultimately what is happening, my dear friends, if there is a grievance, if it is not satisfied or not redressed, it may take a shape of a dispute also, in an industrial dispute, and if there is a kind of an industrial dispute, that is definitely detrimental to the interest of both the parties, whether it is management or whether it is workers. So what is most advisable is that the moment we are able to identify the grievance, the HR department in consultation with the management should make best possible efforts to minimize it. So there can be some kind of methods which are there for the identification or knowing the grievances. These are the most prominent 5 methods which are actually used by the management. So ultimately, please bear in mind that grievances, as soon as these grievances they are identified, these methods are used for identification. The moment they are identified, the management should spring up to action and take best possible ways to minimize them. And management should also show that they are eager to minimize that grievance. So in case if the management becomes very lethargic, or management becomes has a very laid back attitude, then in that case also they can be individual grievances, they can be union grievances, they can be group grievances. So these grievances, they have to be resolved as soon as they are identified, and only then it is possible to have that kind of perfect effectiveness in our organization. The first one is related with the direct observation. Now, direct observation basically means, okay, when the management is there, the managers are there, so they know that, okay, my people are not happy, or what is the problem, or which are the areas where people are finding it difficult. So, having a knowledge of human behavior is the requisite quality of every good manager. So, from the changed behavior of employees, he should be able to snuff the cause of grievances. What is the cause that my people are not happy? So, if he is able to do it with his observation, wonderful. If it is not, then the other ways can be employed. So, this method will give general pattern of grievances, and in our normal routine also there can be some kind of periodic interviews, informal conversation with the employees, or maybe the group meetings, or maybe a kind of interaction with the people. They can identify that what are the problems, and with the help of a direct observation it can help us to unfold the grievances. So, in the case of direct observation, so some kind of informal meetings, as you can see, they can be arranged with people to find out the grievances. So, this direct method is another important method of finding the grievances or unfolding the grievances. And I tell you one thing, that in case if the grievances are there, then a considerable amount of time is actually spent by the management in resolving those grievances, and though it may seem very easy, but it is not very easy to resolve the grievances of all the people. So, it is very, very essential that there has to be a perfect camaraderie between the management and the workers, so that with the help of some informal talks, or maybe simply by observation, we are able to unfold the grievances, and then the corrective action can be taken. And above all, the management should also display a very, very sincere interest in the problems of the employees, and their constructive willingness to help them to overcome those grievances. So, if it is there that they are showing that willingness to overcome that problem, then only you can expect the utmost loyalty and the genuine cooperation by the workers. Second one which you see on the screen is like the suggestion boxes. At times they are also known as the gripe boxes. So, gripe boxes, they are also known as the gripe boxes. You can find it gripe boxes also. So, these gripe boxes, they are like the suggestion boxes only. So, the suggestion boxes are like where you are trying to give some kind of suggestion boxes. They are the kind of suggestions that you are going to give to people, that okay, if this is implemented, this can get improved. So, gripe boxes, they are like a kind of a complaint boxes where you can put in a slip without mentioning your name and identity, and or maybe your employee code or the department or the faculty, so that the HR department every weekly, it's a duty of the HR department to go and open the suggestion boxes and the gripe boxes to find out that what is the complaint, what are the different complaints of the people, and how we can resolve them. That is very important. And I told you that has to be a perfect willingness on the part of the management, that they should show their inquisitiveness, that okay, they are ready to solve their problems at the earliest. So, anybody anonymously can drop in their complaints, and it is different from the suggestion boxes. As I told you that suggestion boxes, you can give the suggestions for improvement. So, suggestions are actually given for improvement, and these gripe boxes are basically given for complaints. So, these they are maybe put at different places in a factory, in an organization, somewhere here, somewhere there, and people can come and they can drop in their complaints. So, naturally the employees can file anonymous complaints about their dissatisfaction in these boxes, and due to anonymity, the fear of managerial action is avoided. because there are so many people who may drop in, and above all in these gripe boxes nobody give their names or anything like that, or no phone numbers or email IDs, because of the fear that they may be reprimanded. So because that fear of communication, that is one of the barriers of communication also, they may avoid giving their name, phone number, emails and other personal details. Moreover, management's interest is also limited to the free and fair views of the employees. So they also want that people, they should come forward and they should give in their best. Then another one which you see here, it's an open door policy. The name itself suggests that open door policy, that anybody can come in and can share their problems. So open door policy is a signal of democratic kind of leadership, and where any organization where they are having kind of autocratic style of leadership, there they may not encourage open door policy, that okay, anybody can walk into the room of the manager, general manager or the supervisor, and then they can put forward their grievances. So that is a very, very good way of communicating people and identifying the grievance that people they have. So there are people who encourage open door policies, and on the other hand there are people who will not be encouraging open door policies. But the ideal situation is it should be encouraged, because people, they should be free to express themselves, and then the management should also be able to find out that which are the areas which need attention, and maybe these areas they are hampering or hindering the productivity of the entire organization. The sooner they are identified, the action should be taken. Then in this open door policy also most democratic by nature, and this policy is preached most by people, but barely practiced in our Indian organizations. But this method is more useful when we do not have a very, very effective grievance procedure. Otherwise the organizations will do well to have a grievance procedure. So open door policy demands that employees, even at the lowest rank, should have an easy access to the chief executive to get their grievances redressed, or to bring their grievances to the notice of such people. So these are the suggestion and grievance boxes. They look like this, where you can put in your chit or folded papers, and there's a lock also that gets unlocked by the HR department or maybe by the management people at any point of time. So this is the suggestion boxes, and here there can be some kind of open door policy that okay, tell us your workplace problem, file a grievance. That means people are open, they are ready to welcome you with open arms. They want that you should come in and tell about your problems. Then another very exciting way of knowing the grievances in a company is the exit interview. Now, what happens is, what is the meaning of exit? Naturally, anyone who is leaving the company, we are trying to figure out some information from them. So, exit interviews are a perfect way of understanding that what are the strengths of the company, or what are the good things of the company, or what are the bad things of the company. So, anyone who is leaving the organization will definitely give you a very, very positive or the true views will be out. Otherwise, people who are already in a job, if you ask them, how do you like the things, are very nice, and but maybe at the back of it, people may not be liking it, but since they are in a job, they have to please the management also. They may be saying yes, yes, yes. But anyone who is leaving the company, they are very confident, okay, now I am leaving the company and I am now going to tell the company what are the good things that I have seen or experienced, and which are the gray areas where the company needs to focus and work if the rate of turnover is very, very high. So, what is the meaning of rate of turnover? So, rate of turnover is nothing but is just the rate at which new people are joining the organization and old people are leaving the organization. So, in my previous videos also I have told you that this rate of turnover should be minimum. This rate of turnover should be minimum, because lot of money and time and energy goes in the entire hiring process of recruitment, selection, training and all those things. They have to be taken into consideration. So naturally we want less people to leave the organization, and we want most productive and the effective and the efficient people should be part of our system all the time. So anyways, if people are leaving the organization because of their own personal reasons, or if they are being terminated or whatever the causes of leaving the company, generally good organizations, they go for the exit interview. So in exit interview, people actually give their real and fair views. So, in the case of exit interview, the company can come to know that which are the areas which have caused dissatisfaction to the people, and they have to be very careful how they are initiating this exit interview. So, again, this is the call of the HR department which does the entire exit interviews. So, these exit interviews may be conducted to know the reasons for leaving the job. So, they have to be properly conducted, and which can, if these interviews they are properly conducted, they will provide a significant information about the strength and weaknesses of the organization. And these strengths and weaknesses, my dear friends, it can always pave way for further improvement, or they can tell management which are the things that they have liked, or which are the policies which are actually acknowledged by people, and which are the management policies which need some improvement. So, naturally, exit interviews, they are one of the very good ways of the identification of the grievances. Then we've got something which is known as the open survey. Here the questionnaires can be done, the periodical interviews can be done, there can be some kind of group meetings which can be done with people to identify the cause of their dissatisfaction. So, my dear friends, in a nutshell, what we have done today, we have talked something about grievances. So, grievances, they are nothing but it's a kind of a discontent or dissatisfaction or any kind of complaint that anyone can experience because of the workplace points or the factors. But however, any grievance which anyone is experiencing, it has to be out of the employment only. Anything which is personal is not counted as a grievance. Second important thing is what has to be borne in mind is that the sooner we identify the grievance, it has to be resolved or redressed, and above all, the management eagerness should be shown to workers or the employees that they are eager to solve their problems at the earliest. Because we know that if these grievances they are not solved, it is actually hampering the mental peace of the people. They are not able to focus, they cannot improve their productivity, and everything comes on a downfall. And above all, we have also discussed the ways in which the different grievances they can be actually identified, or the methods by which we can see that whether my people are happy or not, they are not happy. So, most common methods of identification of the grievances are like observation, open door policy, suggestion boxes or the gripe boxes, or the opinion surveys, or maybe the questionnaires, or maybe the interviews, that is the exit interviews that can be conducted. So, in all these things, what is more important is that management has to be very active, and the management has to take a keen interest in the needs and the desires and the aspiration and the other important parts of the employees, especially related with the terms of employment. Because if people are happy, only then they will perform, and once they will perform, only then 3 P's. Remember, the profitability, the performance and the productivity of the organization will go up, and that is what the company actually wants. So, if you are if any of the managers they are watching my video, or if any supervisor is watching my video, so I am sure by this time you know that what are the best ways by which we can actually identify the grievance. So, please do make an effort to understand what are the things which is causing dissatisfaction to your workers and employees. Try to resolve them at the earliest. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you so much.